games, okay? And what it's going to be is basically just an event where my attempt to raise tips to help pay my taxes, all right? I've already explained a million times the whole situation. I'm not going to go into it right now again. As you guys know, I basically need to raise, like, at a minimum around $5,000 to $6,000 to try to put towards these taxes in the middle of April so that I can qualify for a payment plan and not have to be completely screwed over by back taxes, all right? At this point, I have made some headway. You know, there was very nice, that last marathon, I raised over $1,000, which was great, but I still got a lot of ways to go, and I'm hoping that now this final push, we got basically like 8 days left, okay, for me to raise funds for these taxes via tips, that now people will start to take it seriously, and especially this marathon that I'm going to do on April 5th, the absolute last chance to raise funds, okay? The marathon's going to go just like the last one, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., okay? So I'm going to be, streaming my butt off that day. And then after that marathon, I am streaming the next day, which is my actual birthday, April 6th. I'm streaming all day long. A full day of streaming on April 6th as well, because that's actually my last day before I'm off to head to Connecticut to visit my parents. And then that next week, I'm off. I'll be in Connecticut visiting my parents with Kat, spending time with them, and doing all that stuff that I've told you guys about for weeks and weeks. And then when I come back from being in Connecticut, we're going to hit the ground running. More than likely, I'm still going to be playing Sekiro. I'm going to be starting up my Phoenix Wright Trials and Tribulations playthrough, which people have been waiting for quite some time, among other things. All right? So, this is it, guys. This is the beginning of the big push to raise funds for my taxes in the next 8 days, all right? Well, I'm going to be streaming 7 out of those 8 days, including a marathon. So I'm hoping that it works out and it's successful, and, I can make some major headway here. Just being very honest with all of you, I really, I said the last marathon was make or break. It really was. It ended up being successful. These next 8 days are incredibly important to my future, because if I can't raise enough funds to put towards these taxes to qualify for this payment plan and everything, I'm shot. And more than likely by the end of this year, I'm going to have to sell my house in order to pay taxes. And that's terrible. With as much work as I've put into it and everything, it's that simple. Is that, I really need your help right now in the next 8 days. Okay, guys? So if at all you can, please tip me. I'll explain contribution, methods and shout outs and everything in just a moment. I always do that plug segment, but just throwing this out there. The next 8 days, super important to me, to be able to stay here in this house in Washington. So please consider tipping me. All right. So there you go. That's the schedule. It's going to be Mortal Kombat 11 beta, balanced with Sekiro, balanced with chill stuff for the next several days. Then I'm taking my 1 day off, and then I'm back with 3 more straight days of streaming, including a marathon, before I head to Connecticut to spend some time with my parents. Okay? All right. Okay, guys. So, thank you very much, all of you, for your support. Thank you all for everything that you do. All right? Much appreciated for coming and hanging out with me. Especially a new fighting game. The hype gets exciting. I'm excited to check out Mortal Kombat 11 today and see what they've done with the franchise. I really am. And I hope you guys are too. Okay? So, if you love my daily live streams, right? If you love my long-form on-demand videos on YouTube over on DSPGaming, if you love everything I do and you want to see it continue to be successful and, keep me able to be doing this as my job in the future, there are many ways that you can be supportive and contribute. The first is checking out my Patreon at patreon.com/darksidephil. FYI, today's the 29th of March. That means you have 2.5 days left. If you want to pledge to my Patreon for this month and get in on the perks, which are the rewards that you earn for pledging by the end of March. This month, the perks are number 1, being able to nominate and vote on games for special events via my forums. In particular, in the month of April, I am going to have a sub goal that's going to be related to a viewer's choice event, and the patrons will actually have priority to nominate and vote on games for said event. All right. In addition, you can get your questions answered for sure on my bi-monthly Q&A show, Ask the King. The next episode is scheduled for May. And then also, you can get a private Q&A video made for yourself, whether it's 15 to 30 minutes long, depending on how many questions you ask me. Anyone who's ever gotten these private Q&A videos has absolutely loved them. So give it a look. Patreon.com/DarkSidePhil. Please consider pledging. Thanks to anyone who does. If you want to get in for March, you got to pledge within the next 2.5 days. Okay. Number 2, you can check out my Teespring merch store at teespring.com/stores/DSPGaming, where I sell a wide variety of merchandise, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, stickers, mugs, all high-quality stuff I can attest to. I own a bunch of it. It's never worn out. In the 2 years that I've owned some of these shirts and washed the hell out of them, they're still great, not even faded or anything. So it's very good stuff. You guys get fun stuff, and I get, it helps me out a little bit too when you buy something from there. So please give it a look. If you're here live on today's stream, folks, it's pretty much a no-brainer. If you want to contribute and get a shout-out during the said stream, you can. If you either cheer or subscribe or tip me, any of those things, I'm going to give you a verbal shout-out as long as you keep your messages positive, you don't bring in negative stuff or detractor information or insults or anything like that. And, of course, as long as you're not trying to derail the stream. Some people will cheer and then put up 20 lines from a song. No, I'm not going to read the song lyrics of something. See what I mean? So, that being said, I definitely think that, you will enjoy getting a shout out during the stream if you do contribute. And I am grateful for any contributions that I receive during any stream. So thank you very much, everybody. Now, as you see, we have a stream stats leaderboard at the top of the screen. If you either cheer or tip, and you're the top cheerer or top tipper of the day, you will get the spot up there. And I also will be tracking total tips. By the way, I should bring this up. Now I'm using Streamlabs instead of Muxy. I've been doing this for 2 days. I haven't really had a single problem. And the overwhelming feedback is Streamlabs is good. People are liking it. I now have the ability to do new things. Like, for example, during the marathon that I'm going to do a week from today, I'm going to have a tips goal set up where I'm going to have a bar that's going to be increasing during the course of the day. So the closer we get to the goal, the bar will go up and up and up and fill up during the course of the day. So how cool is that? That's the kind of stuff that with Muxy didn't really work very well. I tried it a few times and then I kind of gave up on it. But apparently Streamlabs has all these capabilities. And so I'm going to be doing that for that kind of stuff. Okay? Coming up. All right. So anyway, yeah. So thanks to anyone who contributes. It is much appreciated. All right. I've already explained, but the best way to contribute today would be to tip me because of this tax situation. Any tips you give me go straight to taxes. I'm able to put them right towards it. And I'm very appreciative of anyone who already has contributed. Thank you. But the preferred method of contribution, if you are going to contribute today, please tip me if you can. There's 2 ways to do that. If you look below the stream, there's a button that says tips jar you can click on. Or if you don't see that button, you can just type in !tip. Okay? So, that being said, either way works. If you are going to tip me, just some ways I want to explain to clarify, because there's a lot of misconceptions about tipping via PayPal. The first is that, I need a PayPal account to do it. No, you don't. You absolutely do not. If you go to my PayPal page, you'll actually see, once you fill out your information, it takes you to the PayPal page, and you can just click on an option that says, I just want to pay with a credit card or a debit card. You don't want to use your PayPal account. You could do that. Number 2, you can leave your actual name, you could leave a pseudonym, or you could be completely anonymous. You don't have to put your name at all. You could just anonymously tip. Okay? Number 3, with this new Streamlabs setup, you can actually see exactly what's going to happen ahead of time. You can see what your message is going to look like. You can actually have it set up properly so that I actually receive what you're trying to send me. Because the problem with Muxy was a lot of people would say, I want to send Phil $1, but then PayPal would take 35 cents away, and they'd only send me like 60 cents. Okay? Now, Streamlabs seems to be completely transparent and shows all that information up front so you know exactly what you're doing. In fact, Streamlabs even converts foreign currencies outside of the U.S. to U.S. currency properly. So it does a lot of things differently and better than Muxy did. Okay? So, pretty cool. And so please consider tipping me. Again, I really need the help. Thanks to anyone who does. I appreciate it. And, basically 8 days left. I have 8 days left to raise as much as humanly possible for these taxes, and I'm hoping for the best. Okay? All right. Now moving on. What I want to do is shout-outs to those of you who have contributed. All right? And let's get started. In fact, what we're going to do is start with people who actually contributed overnight. So let's go ahead and do that. So overnight, we had a few people who cheered. We had Drunk Mike Tyson, who did 250-bit cheers. One of them said, when is the next meet and greet you'll be doing with your fans? Are you going to PAX East? First of all, I live on the West Coast. No, I'm not going to PAX East. Number two, as I've explained many times in the past couple of years, sadly, I'm not in any kind of a financial position to be able to take time away from streaming to be able to go to an event and do a meet and greet with fans. As much as I would like to, and by the way, I used to, I actually used to go to conventions and spend time with viewers and fans. And I had a lot of fun doing that, quite frankly. I really did. Events like Too Many Games, MagFest, Screwtack Gaming Convention, those were all really fun times in my history. And even though those were a long time ago now, I still remember them. I still, cherish the time that I was able to spend with fans and just have fun in general. And, it was good times. However, sadly, those were different times. That was back in the day. When, sadly, I made a lot more money on YouTube. This is before the YouTube apocalypse, when everything fell through. And now it's not even viable to make a living on YouTube anymore. Back then, I could afford to take, like, a week off if I wanted to, to meet and greet with fans and just do that stuff because I was already making so much residual income from the YouTube videos, it didn't matter. Today, I have to be here every day streaming my butt off in order to pay the bills. So, sadly, it's just not viable in the modern era. Maybe one day it will be. Maybe things will turn around or whatever. I don't know. But as for now, it's sadly not in the cards. Okay? Okay. Moving forward, Golden Colts also did an overnight cheer. Thank you very much, Golden Colts, for the overnight cheer. I appreciate it. All right, so now moving on to those who contributed during today's stream. We start off with a dollar tip from an anonymous dollar tip. And they said, just letting you know, the Mortal Kombat 11 beta has online matches, offline arcade towers, and customization. All part of the content available here. That's good because, like I said, what I want to do is do these offline towers first, because that'll give me an opportunity to try out the characters, try out their special moves, see if I can figure out any combos or whatever before I head into the online setting. I actually feel that betas for fighting games, where all you could do is play online with zero opportunity to practice at all, are actually a pain in the ass for the gamer. Now, listen, I can understand, for the game developer, the only reason that they put the beta out is to test the netcode. That's the only reason it exists to them. And so for them, maybe they don't give a shit about if you know what you're doing when you're actually playing online. They just want to test their netcode. But from a gamer's perspective, okay, as a gamer's perspective, you definitely want to be able to have some practice before you jump online to play online play, right? So it's very much appreciated they put these offline arcade towers in there. I'm going to be checking those out first before I do online play. So, very nice. Okay, GMTBBY, no idea how to pronounce that, has subscribed to the channel. Thank you very much for the sub. Hardy Buck cheered. He said, did the police ever track down the guy who swatted you 2 years ago? I remember in your response video, you were pretty upset. Of course they didn't. The problem is, with swatting, that it's completely anonymous. Anyone could do it. And, the police, especially local police, are not equipped to track down the call source of every phone call that comes into them for an emergency. So that is honestly why swatting is so dangerous, is because it's basically, something that's incredibly risky and hurtful to those who are involved on the real life end of it, and basically zero repercussions for the person on the other end of the line. If you guys remember, just about a couple years ago, a swatting went awry and someone got killed. And a police officer just killed someone, shot someone, because of a swatting call. And it was obviously completely inadvertent. It wasn't intended. It was a complete horrendously bad situation. That was a mistake. But, we now have people who have died because of swatting. It's that fucked up. It's that serious. It's not a laughing matter whatsoever. It's not a joke. It's not a prank. It's a fucked up thing that a fucked up person does. And they should be treated appropriately as criminals. The problem is, good luck trying to figure stuff out in regards to this. So, especially the other thing is, it's one thing if something actually negative, really negative happens as a result of a swatting, then probably, law enforcement would put full resources into tracking down that person and make them feel the full extent of the law. But if it's just a stupid one, they're probably not going to go crazy. You know what I mean? In my case, it was annoying, but it wasn't horrendously bad because I had already forewarned the police out here when I moved out here. In 2014, I called the local police and said, hey, FYI, I'm a live streamer. I'm on streams all day, every day. This is something that's been going on that's terrible. There's potential that it could happen. And I just want to forewarn you. So that way, if it does happen to me, you guys know what's going on rather than being completely in the dark. And then it kind of, strikes you out of left field. And, you're not expecting it. When these guys came out here, they pretty much expected it was a false call. And in fact, the sergeant who I had talked to, on the phone about it was here in person and had a conversation with me about it, saying how horrible it is that people would fucking do this and stuff, So it's that's the situation. But yeah, no one was ever caught or anything, at least to my knowledge. It's not even like I doubt that the police would even involve me in that. Like if the guy was ever caught, I doubt they would call. Oh, by the way, we caught the guy who swatted you. They probably wouldn't even tell me. So, but to my knowledge, no, nothing ever happened. Okay. All right. I received an anonymous $50 tip. Thank you very much, whoever this was. They say, this was supposed to arrive last Saturday. F the haters. Thank you very much, whoever this is. That is very, very much appreciated. Let me get you up on the leaderboard right away. And thank you for that. So now we're up to $51 in tips so far today. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, moving on. Hardy Buck cheered again and said, for old time's sake, can we get one last condo vlog when you're there? I don't know. Like, I've thought about maybe stopping by the condo with Kat at some point during the week, but it's not confirmed. In fact, as I've told you guys, I'm not telling you guys whatsoever what we're doing and when we're doing it at all on purpose because I don't want people trying to, harass us or do stupid shit. Is it a possibility I may check out the condo? Maybe. But it's not set, and in fact, I really, honestly, there's zero reason for me to go there. My parents periodically go by and check it out. They told me, every once in a while, they just stop by just to make sure everything's fine with it. But so I really have no desire to go by there unless I absolutely need to. There's nothing there. There's no furniture. There's nothing in there at all, for me to stop by and even look at, so. Okay. I received a $1 tip from someone asking about cooking streams. I'm not doing any cooking streams. But thank you for the $1 tip. I explained all this yesterday at length in Ask the King. Apparently people don't listen. So there you go. All right, continuing on. The Last Rambo did a 50-bit cheer and says, what do you think caused the downfall of Telltale Games? I would say 3 things caused the downfall of Telltale Games. Number 1, oversaturation. And what I mean by that is they made too many games of the same exact formula within a very short period of time. I mean, at one point, I think it was between the years of 2015 to 2017, they had some 4 or more games all running at the same time. You had Batman, you had Tales from the Borderlands, Game of Thrones, The Walking Dead, and Walking Dead spin-offs, like the Michonne spin-off. And more, I think there was another one. I think there were at least 5 games at one point going at once that were all Telltale games. And they were all the same formula. It wasn't like any game played any differently than the others. Yes, they had different characters, but they were all exactly the same formula. And they were all exactly the same graphics engine. They were all the same game, only with just different characters in it. So when you oversaturate your market, you water down the quality of your product. And let's face it, a lot of those games did not perform or run well at all on consoles. They were very choppy, and people rightly complained. I paid for a game, and the game runs like shit. What's going on? Okay. Number 2, stagnation. And what I mean by that is, basically people just got bored of the same thing over and over. If Telltale had done anything to innovate these games and make them different and differentiate them from each other, then maybe people would have liked them more. But when you're releasing, in a 2-year span, 6 to 7 games that all play exactly the same, people get bored of it. So not only did they release too many games, they released the games that were far too similar within too short of a period of time. All right. And then, quite frankly, number 3, and this is the biggest one in my opinion, the decline of The Walking Dead in general. Because if you remember, Telltale Games was not a very successful game studio until they started releasing The Walking Dead episodic games. And when they did back in 2012, The Walking Dead was at the height of its popularity. The show was white hot popular. There was a spin-off in the works. Merch all over the place was Walking Dead. Everywhere you went was Walking Dead, right? So, at that time, that's what made them an insane amount of money, okay? But as time progressed on, The Walking Dead waned in popularity. And now, modern era, you know, a lot of people have stopped watching the show and don't really care about it anymore. Just like anything in pop culture. At one point, it's white hot popular, and then it falls apart. In reality, I think the only way that Telltale could have kept up with being as popular as they were as a studio was to keep purchasing the new IPs and franchises that were popular at the time. So I'll give you a perfect example. If they had done a Stranger Things Telltale game, that probably would have been insanely popular and made a ton of money. See what I mean? Much like Walking Dead, if they had jumped on, oh, here's the next big thing we're going to do, it probably would have made a ton of money. Problem is, it's expensive to get those IPs. And it was weird because within a few years span, they got Batman, which is huge and expensive, Guardians of the Galaxy, which is huge and expensive, Tales from the Borderlands, Game of Thrones, which was huge and expensive. So they were dropping tons and tons of money into these IPs, but then the games they were releasing, especially with like Game of Thrones, were very lackluster. So sometimes it doesn't even matter what franchises you get if you're not releasing quality games with that franchise. It's just not going to pan out, and that's what happened. Is they were just banking on what's the next one? What's the next big IP? What's the next big IP we're going to get? And not focusing on the quality of the individual games they were releasing, and basically it just ended up falling apart. Okay? So, you know, it sucks. You know, we all miss Telltale Games, I think, but that's life, I guess. You know, the terrible management basically forced the company to fall apart, and that's all you can say about that. Okay, shout out to Ace, who cheers as have you thought about opening a Discord channel? I'm gonna be very honest with you, Ace. I'm not doing it. Here's why. Because I don't have time to run and or moderate a Discord channel. I work my butt off streaming all day long every day. And when I'm not streaming, it's my day off with Kat, and I have my completely disconnected from work. Okay? I just don't have time to do it. And I know for a fact that if I tried to have other people run it for me, the whole thing would fall apart and be completely littered with trolls. In fact, if you don't know this, over 2 years ago, 1 or 2 people wanted to do it and started one up. I didn't even give them permission to. They just did. And within a week, the whole thing fell apart. It was completely overwhelmed with trolls, and they didn't want to deal with it anymore, and they abandoned it. So, I'm not dealing with it. All it's going to do is try to promote more trolling and stuff, and I'm not doing it. I'm not dealing with that shit, so. Okay. 2-Bar King did a 100-bit cheer. Thank you very much, 2-Bar King. In fact, that's the biggest cheer so far today. Let's get you up on the leaderboard. Let's get some cheerer up on the leaderboard there. That's 100 bits. Thank you. Then I received a $5 tip from a name that I cannot even come close to pronunciating or pronouncing. So I'm not even going to try. He says, I didn't know that you previously had a website in the past. Big fan of your fighting game stuff. Cool to see what you did back then. Any link to the old videos? No, like that website I haven't touched since the early 2000s. And it doesn't exist anymore. You know, I stopped paying for the web hosting a million years ago. So if it does exist, someone else bought it and messed around with it or whatever. I haven't owned that since like the first half of the 2000s, and that website is defunct. But thank you very much for the $5 tip. Let's go ahead and update the leaderboards here. Apologies, there's no way I could read your name. I can't pronounce that. It's some other language. Okay, Uzi Gohard did a 300-bit cheer. That actually makes Uzi Gohard the top cheer of the day. He says, when will we expect to see Donkey Kong Country 3? Good question. It's not out of the question for the near future. Right now, I really think what I'd like to do is focus on Sekiro as my main game. Once we hit April, there's going to be a little bit of slower time in mid-April, so maybe then I could do it. All right, I definitely want to do it. I just don't want to rush it. And I already played 2 of them back to back. I didn't want to do the third right away and then have people get bored, okay? I actually think if that if I wait a little bit longer, it'll actually make it more entertaining. So there you go. Frogs playing golf, thank you for the cheer, but I'm not addressing what you're talking about because taking attention and giving it towards negative things just makes people get what they want. So thanks for the cheer, but I'm not addressing that. Marlon Tan has subscribed for 3 months and says, have you thought about getting a shotgun for home defense? A shotgun? No. That's probably the last thing I would get. A shotgun. I mean, maybe if a horde of zombies was breaking down my front door, I would need a shotgun. But I live in a private community. All right? It's very safe around here. If anyone even steps onto my street without permission, they've committed a felony. So, I'm not too worried about it. And we have police presence very high around here. We have security cameras all throughout the area. Not really too worried about that. Okay. Joe has tipped me $1. He says, I will tip today, Phil, instead of cheering, so it helps you out. What was your last favorite MK game? Uh-oh. Oh, come on. Unfreeze. There we go. My laptop froze for a second. My last favorite MK game? Like, I did like both MK9 and MK10. I thought they were both great games. I remember MK10 actually looked really good in the graphical department because it was on PS4 for the first time. So, I mean, obviously, I would probably just say MK10. Okay? Okay. Let's continue. Abigail Rayfinger has subscribed to the channel for 6 months. Thank you very much, Abigail, for that subscription. I appreciate it. Condo from Connecticut tipped me $1 and says, I'll be very happy to see you again. Chances are you're not going to be seeing me again. Like I said, there's no reason for me to go back there. It would literally be opening the door, walking in, seeing completely empty condo, saying, okay, it's here, and then leaving and closing the door again. So I'm probably not going to do it. And then Drunk Mike Tyson did a couple 50-bit cheers. Thank you very much for those, Drunk Mike Tyson. And then Abigail Rayfinger just did a 60-bit cheer. Okay. Thank you very much, guys, for all your support so far today. And we haven't even started yet, which is pretty awesome. Let's go ahead and do some shout-outs for the top cheerers of the week. Keep in mind, today's Friday, so there's still 3 more days left in this streaming week to get up on the cheering leaderboard, all right? So, thank you to everyone who supported me this week, but in particular to the top cheerers. Let's give them a rundown, give them some credit. In 10th place this week is Dope Soap. In 9th place, DJ Runo. In 8th place, Golden Colts. In 7th place, Mr. Papavera. In 6th place, Vote Democrat. We have a tie for 4th place between Octoa and Straight Cash Homie. In 3rd place, Frederick Fossa. 2nd place goes to Frugals. And in 1st place for this week, Yoshino Lover. So again, thank you guys very much. I appreciate all of your support. And good stuff. If we don't have anything else really to talk about, if no one else has anything else to ask, and there's no other, contributions coming in, I think we'll go ahead and boot her up. And like I said, I think what we're going to start with in the Mortal Kombat 11 beta,